We continue to follow breaking news here on CBS Sports HQ. ESPN reporting that the Saints have named Jameis Winston their Week 1 starter against the Packers. He's been named the starting quarterback. Will make his first start for New Orleans opening week against the Green Bay Packers. Jameis Winston was in a battle with Taysom Hill for the starting gig to replace future Hall of Famer Drew Brees. We're taking a look at the quarterback rankings from the CBS Sports Fantasy Consensus. We've seen it anywhere between 18 and 22. This list has Jameis Winston behind Ben Roethlisberger, but ahead of Kirk Cousins. All right, let's get the fantasy aspect of this news. Nobody better than Sensei Dave Richard. Dave, what are your first initial thoughts on the news? Jameis Winston, QB1.
It's been a long time since he's been able to eat one of these, right? A W.
Yeah.
He's finally got one. Listen, I know that there are people that remember his big year in Tampa where he had 30 interceptions, but he threw for over 5,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. This is a little bit different of a situation because he's not only is he not going to be guaranteed the starting job for the full season, he's going to lose playing time to Taysom Hill just like Drew Brees did. You better believe that if Drew Brees was taken off the field for Taysom Hill, so will Jameis Winston. So you're going to see two quarterbacks play in New Orleans. That cuts down on the ceiling for Jameis Winston.
That's something interesting that you brought up that I really wanted to hit on, which was, do we anticipate this is a short term? How much slack is he going to get?
Oh, right.
Because from a fantasy perspective, as a lot of people are getting ready for their drafts, they say Winston's the starter, may take them way too early.
I don't think there is a too early button on Jameis Winston. I mean, there could be some dolt out there that's going to take him in around 10 or 11, and I don't know why you would do that when you can get somebody like Joe Burrow then, or one of these great rookie quarterbacks that might be able to pay off for you by the end of this or next month in September. I'm worried about the long-term value for him. In one quarterback leagues, why take the risk? If I'm in a 15-round draft, why should I bother putting Jameis Winston on my bench when I can find one of those rookie quarterbacks or a player at another position that can give me some good upside? This is really more of a super flex league and a 2 QB league type of question. And in that type of case, I do like Jameis quite a bit. And I think he's worth taking with maybe just before the midpoint of your fantasy draft as your number 2 QB. And then you can go and add Taysom Hill maybe 3 rounds later. Now you've got the Saints quarterback situation locked up. So when Jameis goes out and has a 4 interception game like he's been bound to have, and Sean Payton gives him the hook, it'll be Taysom Hill. You're protected. And that's an important thing to do when you've got to start multiple quarterbacks in your fantasy league.
We're taking a look at Winston's rankings among quarterback ADP. Give me a couple names. I know you have your eye on a player or two that you think with this Jameis Winston news can be a fantasy upgrade.
I know that everybody saw Marquez Callaway put up huge numbers in their preseason game against Jacksonville, and he made 2 outstanding deep catches for touchdowns, and a lot of it had to do with Jameis giving him ball placement there. But if you go back and you watch that Baltimore game, he was separating incredibly. He had size. He's got speed to him. He's going to be a factor in this passing game. You want to talk about somebody that you can draft for upside in a 1-quarterback league, Marquez Callaway, worth a top 100 pick. I think he's going to be good to go for this season. And I don't know how much Tony Jones has to do with Jameis Winston being there, but it's starting to look like he could be the number 2 running back in New Orleans. And since we're talking about the Saints, let's just get his name out there. Good late-round pick at running back for fantasy managers who are trying to get depth, and they like going in that direction of young players who are trying to prove it in an offense that has consistently developed unheralded players, late-round picks like Marcus Colston, undrafted players like Pierre Thomas in this offense. Now Tony Jones is next up, so is Marquez Callaway, and Callaway especially will benefit from Jameis because Jameis, and this is how it looked to me when I was watching the preseason film, his downfield throws were on point. He looked good doing it. He was willing to do it, good velocity on those throws, but when he was throwing short, he seemed a little off. Makes me a little nervous about Alvin Kamara, to be honest with you.
Got one more before I let you go. Let's take a DFS angle. How do you think you're going to approach the Saints in general from a DFS, or any guys you think you might be able to stack on Sundays?
Well, let's start with week 1 against Green Bay. I think Jameis Winston's absolutely in the conversation there, and it really just depends on what the price is, and I just don't know it off the top of my head, but I'm going to compare that price with whatever Trevor Lawrence is, and everybody's going to consider Trevor Lawrence because he's taking on the Texans in week 1. That could be a high-scoring game for Jameis against the Packers. I do like Green Bay's defense this year. He could end up being a sneaky play if his price is low enough in DFS.
All right, great stuff as always. I'm sure they'll be talking about this more on Fantasy Football Today. Dave?
Probably.
Appreciate you, bud. Thank you.
Got it, Tommy.
One last time on the CBS Sports Fantasy projection. Again, his quarterback rank anywhere between 18 to 22, depending on which list you're looking at. But we're waiting to see if it's going to be sort of a season-long affair for Jameis Winston, but anticipate some Taysom Hill. Love the packages, does Sean Payton, but Jameis Winston will be the guy at least for the first week.
Want more of the Fantasy Football Today podcast and nonstop year-round fantasy advice? It's simple. Hit the subscribe button and hang with us all throughout the year.